Welcome to Financials with Ahawo. It's exciting to be with you again as we continue on our Making Wealth series and just thinking through and talking through wisdom from books. So this past few sessions, we've just looked through books I've read and encountered and kind of the lessons that I picked through the books and how I've been able to put them into practice and how I continue to plan to put them into practice, as I also encourage you to do the same. Recently, I was in a forum and they were saying that if you wanted to be an expert at something, this is now outside of schooling, you would probably read 50 books on that topic and you would get the content you needed to the place of being an expert. And of course, we've also had the analogy that when you put up to 10,000 of practice into something, then we get to expert. And of course, this is over a lifetime. And I was reflecting, what other book would I want to feature? What other book would I want to talk about? Like, where else can I say I've gotten wisdom that has helped me in my financial journey and that I would propose to assist you in yours? And I was so humbled. I just remember the scriptures. I just thought of the Bible. And I'm like, yes, there's so much wisdom. I know it's a bit obvious, so it's normally not the first go-to place. And I was just like, yes, like I could see different proverbs. I could see different books in the New Testament. I could see different things happening in the Old Testament. And I'm just like, yes, this has really impacted the decisions that I've made in terms of doing well with my finances. I remember when I was thinking through debt and kind of how I wanted to handle that and kind of how we can handle that and the different school of thoughts. And one of the things was so clear, like, oh, no one, nothing but to love them. And I'm like, it's kind of like not saying, okay, don't go in that direction, but let that not be the first thing or way you relate with someone. Don't have all your friends as, this is my 5K friend, this is my 500 friend. It was very mind altering, like, how do I engage with people around me when it comes to money? How do they see me? Are you the person who, when they call, they're like, okay, what are they asking for in terms of cash? Or are you the kind of person who's so convicted that every time you need money, you always have to go to someone? You're not coming to them from the place of first, you just love them for who they are. And then now you deal with them financially. Or from that place of, I'm depending on God, and then he's going to tell me who I'm going to engage with financially. So for me, that was just an eye-opener. And then I come into Proverbs, and a fool and his money are soon parted, of course, as paraphrased. And just how enlightening the Proverbs have been over finance. Like, where your treasure is, there is where your heart shall be. This is in Matthew. Then I come through again and I'm going through the Old Testament and I'm seeing the things that Abraham was doing. This guy was wealthy on another level. He would even go and be given land and he's like, no, I have capacity to pay for this. Let me do it. And the way we have such a culture of, I'm a taker. I'm here for everything that you want to give me. But I was just being challenged. No, you can be a giver. You see, again, David, he needs to sacrifice to God. And David, we know, like a friend asked me recently, see, David was that guy. And God still loved him. And David is like, I will not give an offering unto the Lord that did not cost me. And it made me really think, like, how do I interact with money? What has just these messages that I've picked as I've gone through scripture that have impacted me? And back to the Proverbs again, and the wisdom there talks about even surety for a person. Do I just pledge without thinking through that I will be able to uphold that pledge? It's been such a place of thought. It's been such a place of reckoning. It's been such a place of telling myself that I have this nuggets of wisdom and I can so easily and so enlighteningly relate them to the scriptures and how I've interacted with them. And just reminding me that sometimes the knowledge you're looking for is not always out there, but it's in one of the things that you're constantly interacting with in your daily. And for me, that has been such an eye-opener. Well, I knew it, but the way eye-opening, like, I'm looking at it again as I've thought through and reflected to just the place of building wealth and the place of growing finances. And I even look at someone like Job. Like Job was legit the worker. He had camels, he had sheep, he had all of this. And at some point, all of this goes. And it's also reminding me that in a season of our wealth journey, we will have much. And then there are times that we will not have that much. But what do we seek to do in that time? And then you see everything that Job had comes back. I'm like, hey, plot twist. But it means that if it's happened before, it can happen again because there's nothing new under the sun. And then I come back into the New Testament and we're looking at the parable of this servant. And he's gotten in trouble with his master. And then he pulls this stunt of going to all the people he used to deal with. I feel like he broke us, And then he goes and tells them, you owed my master 10K. You give me, bring 9K, bring 5,000. You owed my master 7,000. Bring 2,000. You owed my master 4,000. Then he just brokers engagement for himself and gets favor. Of course, I'm using that example like just to show us that also there's a shrewdness, like it wasn't exactly right, but you get like we're almost being called to be alert to the things that are happening around us in terms of our finances and be conscious to the opportunities that we can make use of. And this is straight off scripture. Like it's just blessed me to think about it. It's just blessed me to think about it. And I remember I was listening or reading a while back a sermon or a book or something, and someone was saying actually one of the things that Christ talks about the most is money. And I'm like, why do we then tend to separate it a lot of times from our faith? Yet money is one of the things that Christ talks about a lot to inspire us, to encourage us. We even see where he's supposed to pay tax. And he not only pays for his tax, he also pays for, I think, Peter's tax. Like the fish story and, the coin that's found inside it. And all of this just got me thinking that there's a wealth of knowledge that I have received. There's a wealth of knowledge that I would say to you is in the scriptures. And sometimes maybe we come from the place of, I know the scriptures talks about like, I need to live my life in this way, I need to live my life in that way. But it comes so practically that there's something small for everyone. No one lives without having something that they can apply and put into practice. So I'm just going to encourage us. I'm going to challenge us, even as we continue on our wealth journey, even as we read all these amazing books by all these amazing authors, let's not forget to go back to just that humble place of hanging out with the scriptures and finding out what wisdom we can pull out from there. Thank you for listening. It's been a joy to speak to you and talk to you soon again. It's Ahawo.